наши сотрудники, кроме того, преподаем академии, кроме того, является доктором ее научных интересов, образования философских и богословных. И она тоже подготовила научную.
Спасибо большое. Вначале я хотела бы выразить благодарность организаторам конференции за очень интересную программу, за работу. Я много узнала для себя. И, конечно же, за предоставленную возможность сегодня я представлю сегодняшние комментарии Евангелия от Марка, автором которого является Марсель Машкелотти, или Василий Машкелотти, автором является автором но у меня такая надежда, что они continue much. It is fortunate that the autograph of the commentary on the Gospel of Mark is still extant and is held at the Mathematics. So my study is mainly based on this autograph. In Antic colloquy, where the author provides interesting information about himself as well as the time and circumstances of the creation of the comet. Thus, according to the colloquy, it was written in 1325 in the monastery of Mashkebor, Black Mountains. In the autograph, the commentary is entitled The Second Volume of the Commentary on the Gospel of Mark, created by Barset Patapet. It includes a commentary on Mark 9:10 to 16:20, while the first volume, commentary on Mark 1:1-9:9, is the autograph consists of 308 folios, and it is divided into 43 chapters. So it is a quite extensive treatise. If you take into account that it is an interpretation on only 7 chapters of the Mark. So the focus of my paper will be the last 4 chapters of the commentary, containing the interpretation of the last 16 chapter of the Gospel of Mark, Jesus's resurrection story. As we know, one of the central and enigmatic figures of Mark 16 is Mary Magdalene. Thus, the penultimate chapter, 22nd of the commentary, is entirely dedicated to the interpretation of Mark 16:9. In this passage, Basil indicates the apostolic role of Mary, describes her as an extremely devoted and emotional, yet at the same time strong and courageous woman. The author refers first to the Gospel of John, chapter 20, to explain where and how Jesus appeared Mary. He mentioned that one of the characteristics of his commentary is that the passages from the Gospel of Mark are quoted literally with a high level of textual accuracy, while other biblical quotations are sometimes altered and adapted to the content of the interpretation. And one can assume that in this case, rather than being copied, they were cited from memory. That Basil does not present the exact quotation from John, but recounts the passages most important to me, adding some phrases and thus making the gospel episode even more moving. Here you see the basic commentary, and I try to highlight the passages or the expressions he inserted in the quotation of John, and the second part, the exact quotation from the Gospel of John. So, for example, to the verse, Mary stood outside the tomb praying, face to act, with feminine mildness and continued. Having read for a long time, she began to look at the tomb where the body was placed, with a sole desire to be comforted by it. So she received the amazing vision of angels in bright clothes that the disciples had not been able to see. The question of the angels, why she was crying, Mary answered, "They have taken my Lord away, that is why I'm crying. I do not know where they have put me." So body and be consoled. To the next verse, in which Mary meets Jesus, and assuming that he is the gardener, asks him where he has put the body of Jesus so that she can get him. Basil asks, so that I take him to another place and bury him properly. Besides creating Mary's answer, Basil also tries to explain the reason why Mary wanted to take Jesus' body and bury him in another place. Basil says, perhaps she feared that the Jews might condemn the dead body. That's why she wanted to take him to an unknown place, for she had a compassionate character typical of women. In this passage, it is remarkable how Basil refers to John to interpret Mark, how he presents the gospel along his additions, which are so perfectly in tune with the gospel story that it is difficult to distinguish them without a direct comparison. Basil does not just interpret the gospel, but based on it, he creates his own story of resurrection, so vivid and touching that it reminds, let me say, more of a fiction than a commentary. The narration becomes more emotional at the moment when Mary recognizes Jesus. Mary desired to approach and embrace him as before, but Joseph did not permit her, saying, do not touch me, so that she would learn that his body was not the same as he had before his death, but was celestial and divine. To be added that Basil accepts that Mary Magdalene was the first to mention in the Gospel who washed the feet of Jesus. Interpreting Mark 16:1, in which Mary Magdalene, Mary, the mother of James, and Salome go to the tomb to anoint the body of Jesus, they will present the following verse. I will just read the quotation. Behold, Mary goes out on the steps. The winter is past, the rains are over, the flowers have appeared on the earth. The voice of the turtle dove is heard in our life. The vines have blossomed and spread their fragrance. For the bridegroom slept in the shadow of a rock on Friday evening, and now on Saturday evening he wants to show his face and makes his voice heard. The voice of him is so sweet and the face is so lovely. In this passage, Basil indirectly but obviously refers to the Song of Songs of Solomon, attributing the bright words to Mary. Of course, we know that in Christian theology, doctrine, the church is identified as the bride and Jesus is the bridegroom. And in this regard, his commentary probably presents Mary as symbolizing the Christian church as well. However, it is amazing how he combines the Song of Solomon and the Gospel, the characters of Old Testament and the Gospel, and how quietly he presents this text. I must admit that such an approach to the personality of Mary Magdalene is not so typical to the Armenian medieval theological thought. Maybe Father Shaya will correct me if I'm mistaken. We will discuss it. I try to find this episode the criticism of the other commentators. For example, Nikos Tatevati, the 14th century Armenian famous commentator and theologian, to the question why Jesus Christ appeared to Mary Magdalene, answered, well, women are usually in a hurry to free the goods. So not because Mary was the only one who was at the tomb, but because it was easy to spread the news of resurrection to her. And I completely agree with the 19th, 20th century Armenian theologist, who noticed that Basil's examples and explanations are so often that the hypocrites do not hesitate to say, how could the monk with such a language have? Generally, in the commentary, Basil presents biblical events in the historical context of early Christianity, demonstrating quite a critical approach to the text, juxtaposing passages from Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and then explain them in the light of social relations and moral values of his time, emphasizing the new understanding of the gospel story. Thus, the explanation of some chapters and verses is followed by an exhortation, Hordorat in Armenian, which represents a moral conclusion of the issue. Thus, in the exhortation following the interpretation of the verse, Basil reflects on repentance, grace, and punishment. And he does not see repentance as a way of living an austere life. Moreover, he preaches that being closer to God is not as difficult as it might seem. I will just read this word. Does it keep you away from your wife? No, only from fornication. Does it keep you from enjoying your property? No, only from having greed. Does he say we should give away everything? No, just a little to the poor. Does he say that we should fast every day? No, but stay away from drunkenness. Does he disapprove of pleasure? No, only the one that it is detestable and dirty. Then why are you afraid? For there are things for you such as married life, enjoyment of wealth, and sensible pleasure. As a second point of my paper, I would like to discuss the possible reasons why, in my opinion, Basil added such episodes, dialogue, comparisons in his commentary. So, were they so necessary to interpret and understand the gospel? In this regard, it is very important to understand who was the addressee and the audience of this work. In his brief preface, Basil compares Christianity with art, and he said that every art is complete with its tools, and the artist cannot succeed without them, no matter how skillful they are. The tool of Christianity, which is the greatest of all arts, Basil's word, is the Holy Scripture, and that all the believers should know. But then Basil adds and trying to explain why the ordinary people do not know the Bible, and he's somehow trying to justify this. And he says, I know you cannot learn the Bible. You do not manage to learn the Bible because you have to nurture your children, take care of your wives and royal pets. So the same concerns we have today. And he continues that as a result, many evil things happen because of ignorance of the scriptures, and he ignored, at least if possible, to listen to those who are aware of the scriptures. So in the whole commentary and the preface as well, it becomes clear that this addresses the ordinary people. And I think this could be the reason why he inserted such dramatic episodes, examples from the everyday life, presenting beautiful events, the characters of the country, men, women, children, so in order to make the gospel story more understandable, perceptible, and why not interesting to the wider audience. And as a last point, I will discuss the literary sources pages used or what inspired them. All of these issues still needs to be investigated in more detail, but as a preliminary observation, I could say that there are no direct references to the church fathers, at least in the passage in question, which is quite strange for them in the author. However, the influence of John Chrysostom, particularly Homilia in John, is high. And there is a reference, I just identified reference to Apostle, to Itaipatum, and apocryphal literature as well, but this is not. Of particular interest are the passages where he refers to Plato and Greek mythology. Interpreting Mark 16:20, Basil endeavored to persuade the reader that the apostles could do nothing by themselves without the Lord's help, and asks the following rhetorical question. How was it possible for them to be so strong as to win the whole world? Look, the ignorant teacher, the pen maker, the tax collector made the philosophers and the scholars renounce their beliefs and won them over in a short time. And here you illustrate the power that the apostles had through the Lord, he says. Plato and his followers made a lot of effort to show that the soul is immortal, but since their statements were not clear, did not convince anyone. On the other hand, the apostles, with the help of our crucified and resurrected Christ, taught people everything about God, piety, the immortality of the soul, the resurrection of the body, and the last judgment. He also mentions Plato in the interpretation of a verse from Matthew, that the 11 disciples went to Galilee, where to the mountain action, not only of knowledge, in terms of relationship between the practical philosophy and theoretical philosophy, and asks the following question. Why the gospel doesn't say that the apostles knew the commandment, but it is said that they fulfilled the commandment, because doing something is harder than knowing. Learning the commandment is easy, but fulfilling it with action requires great strength. For according to Plato, it is not a man who knows a lot, nor a man who can learn many things by heart, whom I call wise, but the man who acquires pure and spotless life. So I have some considerations where we put this quotation. Basil's considerations on the idolatry and common laws are also answered. According to him, a believer is not the one who worships the God, and on the other hand, the infidel is not the man who worships the idol. In his opinion, if a person obeys human passion, he is already worshiping the idol. Because according to Basil, the idolaters turn their passion into gods. And in the exhortation of the first chapter, he addresses his audience with the following words. Do not say, I am not an infidel, and I do not worship the idol, but show me that you do not obey your passions, and you do not carry out whatever they command you. For the idol worshippers are profane, for they fight our passion. The desire or pleasure was called Aphrodite, anger was called Ares, drunkenness was called Dionysus,